Okay, math fans, we're back. Let's take a look at number 8. Now, this is what we did in our last lesson. When you have a radical in the denominator, it is not simplified. So, to simplify, we're going to multiply by a fancy form of 1, 5 minus square root 3 on top and on the bottom. What this is called, 5 plus root 3, 5 minus root 3, those are called conjugates. Notice that they're identical except this is a plus symbol, this is a minus symbol. Now in number 7, look what happened when you multiplied. These were conjugates. What happened to the middle terms with the square roots? They got canceled, they disappeared. So multiplying by conjugates is always going to wipe out your middle term, which is what you want, because you want to get rid of the square roots. So this is what we're going to do. If this is 5 plus root 3, we multiply by the conjugate, 5 minus square root 3. Now here's what happens. The top, we're going to distribute with the 2. So that's going to become 10 minus 2 square root 3. That's your numerator. Okay, now the denominator, you're going to have to double distribute. So that's going to be, and you can write this out, but I'm just going to work this here. I'm going to do 5 times 5, which is 25. I'm going to do 5 times negative root 3, which is minus 5 square root 3. And then I'm going to do positive root 3 times 5, which is plus 5 root 3. And then I'm going to do positive root 3 times negative root 3. Now what happens here? Square root 3 times square root 3 is square root 9. The square root of 9 is 3. So what happens is the radicals basically undo each other. So you get minus 3. Okay, now the middle terms, negative 5 root 3 plus 5 root 3 is 0. That's gone. So what we get, the numerator is 10 minus 2 square root 3. The denominator is 25 minus 3, which is 22. Last question to ask yourself, when you look at the outside numbers, not the square root of 3, everything else, is there anything that we can divide into all of these? We can reduce. In this case, yes, each of these is divisible by 2. So what we'll do is we'll divide the top and the bottom both by 2. And what that gives us is 5. Now this will be minus 1 root 3. We'll just write minus root 3 all over 22 divided by 2 is 11. That is a good answer right there. Now again, you can check. If I take the original problem, which was 2 divided by, I got to put the whole denominator in parentheses. 5 plus square root 3, close, close. I'm going to get a decimal, 0.297. Now if I take my answer, I got to put the whole numerator in parentheses. 5 minus square root 3, close, close, then divide by 11. Same thing, bam. Look at that, beautiful. Okay? So what we've done, again, when you simplify, you change the way it looks, you do not change the value. Now number 9 and number 10 are going to be very similar to number 8. Number 9, we're going to multiply by the conjugate. That would be negative 1, and this becomes plus square root 7. Negative 1 plus square root 7. I multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing. I have to do that, okay? Because this is really just 1. And when you multiply by 1, nothing changes, which is why we do it. So the 12 up top is going to distribute, and we'll get negative 12 plus 12 square root 7. Now in the bottom, you're going to double distribute there. Now what happens, your middle term, look at 7 and look at 8. Look at what happened to the middle terms here. They get wiped out. They cancel each other out. That's why we do this. So I'm going to just say negative 1 times negative 1. Okay, I'm going to do that, which is just positive 1. Then I would do negative 1 times square root 7, which is negative root 7. And then I would do negative root 7 times negative 1, which is positive root 7. Those are going to add to 0. Negative root 7 plus root 7 is 0. Okay, so the last part of this is negative root 7 times square root 7. That would be square root 49, which is 7, and it's negative times positive, so it's minus 7. So what we get out of this, negative 12 plus 12 square root 7, all divided by negative 6. Okay, now look at the outside numbers, 12, 12, 6. Each of these is divisible by 6, so let's go ahead and divide the top and the bottom by 6 to reduce. And what we'll get here is negative 2 plus 2 square root 7. Oh, excuse me. No, that's right. Negative 2 plus 2 root 7 divided by, okay, negative 1. Actually, I don't like that. What I want to do with that, I don't like to leave a negative in the bottom. So I'm going to move this negative up to the top. But what happens is that it's going to distribute to here. So it becomes positive 2 minus 2 root 7. There's my solution right there. Okay? Just to check it if you don't believe me. 12 divided by parentheses. The original problem, negative 1 minus square root 7, close, close. There's my decimal. Now my answer was 2 minus 2 square root 7. Did I do this correctly? Bam! Look at that. Okay? Last one, number 10. We're going to multiply by the conjugate. The conjugate is 4 plus square root 5. Top and bottom. Okay, so what's going to happen here, we're going to distribute, we're going to double distribute for the top. So the 2 is going to multiply 4 plus root 5. So 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times root 5 is 2 square root 5. And then we're also going to multiply square root 5 times both of these. That's going to be plus 4 root 5 plus square root 5 times itself is just 5. So that's the numerator divided by. Now we're going to do the denominator. Again, we're going to double distribute. So this 4 is going to multiply both of these. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times root 5 is 4 root 5. Now in the bottom here, this is going to be minus root 5 times 4. Ooh, look at that, minus 4 root 5. That's awesome, because that adds to 0, gone. Minus root 5 times root 5 is just minus 5. Now you might be tempted to say, oh, you know, 5 divided by negative 5 is negative 1. Let's reduce it. Can't do it. Can't do it unless all of this is multiplication, and it's not. It's addition and subtraction. So what we can do, though, let's combine the like terms. So on the top we have 8 plus 5, 13. We also have 2 root 5 plus 4 root 5, so that's 6 square root 5, over, in the bottom, let's see, 16 minus 5. 16 minus 5 is 11. And in this case, there's nothing that goes into 13 and 6 and 11 except for 1. So that means this thing is already good. Now, we might as well check this just to make sure. By the way, the answers are here at the bottom, so I know that this is right. But if I checked it, I would get that they have the same values. And that is the end of the assignment.